After 25 years of being overlooked, I discovered my true power and made a life-changing purchase. Maria had always felt like a shadow drifting through Willow Creek, a hardworking ghost. Really? At the local diner, she sat at the counter, her hands wrapped around a chipped coffee cup, the bitter taste a constant reminder of her life. Everyone else was laughing, sharing their lives, and there she was, invisible once again. Her two children, Alex and Mia, deserved more than what her meager paycheck provided. Every day she wiped bus tables, worked night shifts, and filled hours at the grocery store. But the fruits of her labor vanished as quickly as they appeared. "Mom, when can we get our own place?" Mia asked one evening, her eyes wide with hope. Maria wanted to say soon. She wanted to believe in a fairy tale ending. Instead, she swallowed hard. The weight of unfulfilled dreams settled like a stone in her chest. The day Carol, her best friend, announced her bakery's expansion, it felt like the town was celebrating with fireworks. The rumors buzzed around the diner. "Did you hear? A franchise is coming to town." They spoke of grand plans and big dreams, and Maria felt that familiar pang of jealousy steeped in fear. While Carol's success was a beacon, Maria's approach felt futile. Whispered words circulated like a contagion. "Sure, Maria works hard, but she just doesn't have it. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. One afternoon, while taking the long way back home, Maria stumbled upon the old community center. The paint was peeling, its windows cracked like forgotten memories. She felt a spark ignite within her, a vision of vibrant gatherings, families coming together, laughter echoing through its halls. Could she breathe life back into this ghost of a place? Challenging convention felt perilous. Who would believe in her vision? "You're just a single mother," the whispers hinted. But here, in that dilapidated building, she saw hope. With Alex and Mia by her side, they began the grueling task of cleaning up. Days turned into weeks, progress felt agonizingly slow, but the flicker of possibility fueled her resolve. Yet as the days passed, Maria faced more ridicule. "What does she think she's doing?" rang in her ears. The dreams of others painted her aspirations as foolish, even ludicrous. Deep inside, Nurse desires collided with a burning frustration. How dare they dismiss her? Memories of her husband, who believed in fighting for dreams, swirled within her like a tidal wave. To town meeting, she could feel the weight of their eyes on her, heavy with doubt. Mustering courage, Maria stood up, her hands trembling as she faced the crowd. "I want us to remember who we are, our veterans, our stories. Let us make this community center a place of unity." Cheers erupted, but mixed with murmurs of disbelief and disdain. She paused, heart racing. Had she crossed an uncrossable line? Would her voice echo in resignation or surge toward change? Caught between doubt and fervor, Maria stirred the crowd. But could she pull them from their comfort into a world of hope? Would she rise from the silence of obscurity? Or would the ghosts of the past silence her once more, leaving her to drift in the shadows? The air in the community center was thick with tension. Maria's heart pounded against her ribs, each beat echoing a longing for acceptance. She glanced at Mia, who beamed with admiration, her innocent faith grounding Maria in that moment. Turning to Alex, she noted his furrowed brow, a mix of pride and worry woven on his face. The emotions crashed over her like waves, bringing with them a renewed fire. "Each of you has a story to tell," Maria continued, her voice growing stronger, bolder. "We can create a space for our community to gather, to share, and to thrive together. Let this be our heartbeat." But the murmurs persisted, even louder now. A familiar voice cut through. "We don't need another empty dream, Maria. Look what happened to the last place that opened. This town can't support more failures." A ripple of agreement washed through the crowd, faces set in place, hardened like concrete. That moment, something inside Maria shifted. It wasn't just her dream they were dismissing. It was every sacrifice she had made, every tear shed in solitude, every time she picked up her children after a long day, every moment she kept going despite the doubt. No more would she hide in shadows. Failure? Is that what you see? She called out, her voice slicing through the skepticism. This community center can be our chance. A place to learn, to grow, to heal. I'm not here for myself. I'm here for you, for us. More murmurs echoed. But this time the disbelief was tinged with curiosity. Some glanced around, whispering in hushed tones. Could this be an opening? Maria felt eyes flickering with hope, but she also felt the weight of many more averted gazes, steadfast in their cynicism. Frustration bubbled within, but she took a deep breath, willing herself to stand tall. Suddenly, an unexpected voice, one she never thought would speak up, came from the back of the room. It was Larry, a widower known for his gruff demeanor. You know what? Think she's right. We have nothing to lose. Gasps filled the air, eyes darting toward him as if searching for confirmation. Encouraged by Larry's support, others began nodding slowly, mumbling their agreement. For the first time, hope swirled like a gust of fresh air in a stagnant room. Each nod felt like a spark igniting the embers of her dreams, pushing against the suffocating darkness of doubt. I can get us supplies. I have some funds saved, Larry added, his face softening. Murmurs of support spread like wildfire. And I can help with the construction, another voice chimed in. One after another, suggestions flew like petals in the wind, and with each one, the shroud of skepticism began to lift. Tears pricked the corners of Maria's eyes. Was this it? Was her dream finally taking root? The laughter and camaraderie she envisioned was within arm's reach. It stirred something deep within her. This was not just about the community center anymore. It was about the community itself, the heart, the struggles, and the potential to rise together. As the meeting adjourned, promises exchanged felt tangible. Yet as Maria stepped outside into the cool evening, she realized this was just the beginning. Along with the hope, shadows of her past loomed large. She couldn't help but wonder how far they would stretch. Would they accept this newfound ambition? Or were they merely waiting for the moment she stumbled? With fire in her heart, she clutched Alex and Mia close and whispered, "Together, we can do this." But doubt still flickered at the edges of her joy. And as she turned to face the dimly lit street, she couldn't shake the feeling that the fight was far from over. Would the light they ignited be enough to chase away the darkness? The next few days felt like a whirlwind. Maria poured every ounce of her energy into planning. The warmth from the community meeting lingered, and each passing moment brought with it a sense of urgency. She felt the weight of expectations bearing down, but it was a weight she welcomed. After years of feeling invisible, she had a voice, not just hers, but a chorus of support echoing behind her. Alex and Mia engaged with the vision, helping organize flyers. They crafted bright designs, afraid to waste even a moment. "Look, Mom, this one has stars," Mia exclaimed, eyes dancing with possibility. The innocent enthusiasm struck Maria like a bolt of lightning. "Stars it is," Maria affirmed, smiling as she watched her daughter color outside the lines, just like their aspirations. Each flyer became a small beacon, lighting the way towards what could be. She plastered the town with them, urging people to come together, to see beyond the shadows. But with each act of hope, a voice from the past whispered doubts. "You're just setting yourself up for disappointment," it teased. Maria couldn't afford to listen anymore. Her focus sharpened, and she held her breath. It was now or never. The following Saturday brought a crowd that surpassed her expectations. The community center's barren walls felt alive as the voices of neighbors filled the space. Maria stood in front of them again, her heart beating out a rhythm of determination. "Today marks the beginning of something special. Together we will create more than just a center. We will build a family." Alex squeezed her hand, and Mia clapped excitedly at the back. Encouraged by their bright faces, Maria continued, inviting everyone to share their ideas. Laughter erupted as stories flowed. There were tales of shared meals and music, dreams of workshops and classes. Each story wove a bond, planting roots of connection. But as the jubilance bubbled, the familiar face of skepticism emerged. Becky, another resident, arms crossed tightly. "You really think this will work?" "We've tried before and failed," she stated flatly, casting a pall over the gathering. Maria felt the air thicken, but she wouldn't let it sink them. "We could fail," Maria said, a poignant edge in her voice. "But we could also grow. Every great story has setbacks, But we weren't meant to let fear dictate our journey. We owe it to ourselves to try. Some in the crowd nodded, murmurs of agreement rising. But Becky's eyes hardened, a mix of challenge and disbelief gleaming in them. Why does it always have to be you? She shot back, making the air crackle. Maria could almost hear the collective breath being held. Tensions rose, shadows eclipsing the brightness around them. I want to lift everyone up, Maria spoke softly, willfully breaking through her own defensiveness. Not just me. If we can't rally together, we'll never thrive. But if we dare to take that step, together there's no limit to what we can achieve. Silence blanketed the room. Maria felt stripped bare, heart racing hard. Her hope dangling precariously in the air. Would they choose fear or possibility? Finally, a young man spoke up, voice trembling but strong. I've seen this town at its worst. I'd like to see it at its best. A ripple of agreement flowed, energy snapping back into place as enthusiasm bubbled again. Maria exhaled, droplets of sweat collected at her brow. Could it be? Were they rallying behind her? As laughter returned to the fold, she caught sight of Becky's expression soften just a fraction. With each passing moment, courage resonated, filling spaces that had felt empty for too long. But as she basked in this fleeting triumph, shadows loomed at the edges, threatening to encircle the light she was trying so hard to nurture. Would their momentum endure? With doubts hanging like dark clouds, one question echoed within her: what happens when optimism clashes with the reality of their past? And can hope truly break the cycle of despair? The room buzzed with chatter and excitement, a newfound energy pulsing through the crowd. Maria stood at the front, feeling a rush of gratitude and disbelief. She had opened the door, and now it seemed everyone wanted to step through it. But in the back of her mind, a twinge of uncertainty lingered, a whispered reminder that the road ahead might not be as smooth as she hoped. Okay, let's talk next steps, she called out, pushing her doubts aside. Who wants to lead the first community craft event? Let us make something beautiful together. Hands shot up and she couldn't help but smile. There was power in this moment, a collective, tentative embrace of possibility. An older lady, Miss Thompson, stood up. I'd love to help. I used to run workshops at the senior center before. Things changed. Maria saw the flicker of nostalgia in Miss Thompson's eyes. That sounds perfect. Let us get everyone involved. Imagine how wonderful it will feel to see our town come alive with creativity. As Miss Thompson detailed her ideas, Maria scanned the room, taking in the energy, the nods, the smiles, the shared hope. They were starting to believe, and with each idea exchanged, it felt as if they were indeed building something. But then, like an unexpected chill in summer, Maria felt a poke of doubt, reminding her of Becky's hard gaze from earlier. What about Becky? Someone asked from the back, halting the jovial chatter. She had a point. How do we know it won't fall apart like before? The room fell silent. Maria's heart sank. She had imagined the doubts gone, but they were still here, uninvited. She looked at Alex and Mia, who watched her with encouraging eyes. I know this isn't easy, Maria finally said, her voice steady. But we're not just taking this on alone. We're creating a team. Every single person here is a vital piece of this puzzle. But what if we don't come together? Another voice piped in, laced with uncertainty. What if we can't change things? Maria took a deep breath and squared her shoulders. Then we'll learn. That's part of growing. I believe in this town and I believe in all of you. Failure isn't the end. It's just the beginning of finding a better way. The murmurs didn't fade, but there was a slight shift. She could see some faces softening, their walls cracking just a bit. Just then Becky, still standing at the back, finally spoke up. Maybe we have failed before, but it's because we didn't have a unified vision. I'm not saying I'm convinced, but I am willing to listen. The weight of her words hung in the air, a flicker of hope igniting among the crowd. Let us start building that vision together, Maria encouraged, her own heart swelling with a newfound determination. Let us form smaller committees and see what we can accomplish. We can do this. Slowly, hands began to rise again. Participants formed groups under various banners: food, arts, events, and the chatter resumed, louder this time, infused with collaboration. Maria smiled, buoyed by excitement, even though that nagging worry pinched her. The day passed in a blur of ideas and laughter, but as the crowd began to disperse, Maria felt the weight of the world shift once again. What would happen next week? Would they still feel this fire? Would their commitment fade when faced with the reality of sticking to their plans? As she started to pack up the chairs, Alex and Mia rushed to her side. "Did you see how many people were excited?" Mia exclaimed, her face flushed with joy. Maria nodded but felt a flicker of trepidation. "I did. But keeping that excitement alive, that's the real challenge." "Mom, they trust you," Alex spoke, squeezing her hand. "You have to believe in them just like they believe in you." As they walked out of the center, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue across the earth. For the first time in years, Maria saw the world in vibrant colors. Yet her heart was a pendulum, a mix of hope and doubt. What would happen when the temptations of comfort and complacency crept in? Would she face the challenge, or would she let fear win again? The question danced in her mind as they headed home, the shadows growing longer, beckoning her to consider the unthinkable, the possibility of failure. But deep inside, a flicker of undeniable hope remained waiting to ignite. The following week, the community center buzzed with life once again. Maria stood at the front, her heart racing. Alex and Mia helped her set up the tables, adorned with bright paper and art supplies. She could feel the excitement hanging in the air, but that familiar voice of doubt crept into the corners of her mind. What if no one shows up? As if on cue, the doors swung open, and a stream of people filtered in. Miss Thompson led the charge, her arms laden with bags of supplies. "I brought everything we need," she declared, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Great," Maria replied, her spirit lifting. Teamwork was electric, and she felt it sparking all around her. Soon the tables were filled with laughter, vibrant colors splashing onto blank canvases as hands busily crafted decorations for their upcoming town fair. Children giggled, elders shared stories, and the room resonated with a harmony she hadn't felt for years. But just as the energy peaked, she noticed Becky lurking near the doorway. Her expression was unreadable, and Maria's heart sank. Would she be a distraction? Would she bring the positivity crashing down? "Hey Maria," Becky said, her voice firm yet softening at the edges. "Mind if I join?" Maria hesitated, then nodded. "Of course. I'd love your help." She genuinely meant it, hoping against hope that they could find a common ground. As Becky approached, Maria tried to gauge her demeanor. They hadn't always seen eye to eye, but maybe this was a chance for something new. Together they mixed paint and shared tips, and slowly, the air between them grew lighter. "I used to hate that people simply looked past each other, you know?" Becky admitted, her focus distant yet thoughtful. "But maybe I was one of those people too." Maria was taken aback by the honesty. It reminded her of that spark of hope she had felt just the week before. As they crafted together, the two women began to talk openly about their past experiences in the community, both the triumphs and the failures. Hours flew by, and when they finally unveiled their art, they were greeted with cheers. Children bounced up and down in excitement, clutching the colorful banners they created. Maria's heart swelled with pride for every smile, every bright creation hanging in the center. But that evening, as the sun dipped once again, casting long shadows, Maria found it hard to shake off the tug of uncertainty. They had made progress today, yes. But would it last? With the fair approaching, she had to ensure this momentum didn't fizzle out. She could almost hear Becky's voice again, echoing that doubt. "Mom," Alex said, sensing her unease. "You're worried, aren't you?" Maria knelt to his level, their eyes locking. "Just trying to make sure everyone stays committed to this. I can't let them down." Alex shrugged, his innocence breathtaking. "They want this, Mom. You have to trust them." Her heart fluttered at his simple yet profound words. Could she really trust them? Days passed, and the thrill of the upcoming fair filled the air. But so did pressure. Organizing meetings, planning details, Maria found herself losing sight of the joy that had initially ignited the community. Each day brought a new challenge, and that nagging worry loomed larger. When the fair finally arrived, Maria stepped into the bustling grounds, vibrant stalls filled with laughter, chatter, and the rich aroma of food wafting through the air. She glanced around, searching for familiar faces among the crowd. But just then, as she turned to greet Mia and Alex, she noticed Becky standing alone, her eyes fixed on the chaos unfolding. Something inside her clicked. Maria approached Becky, drawn to the uncertainty silently held in her gaze. Hey, are you okay? Becky met her eyes, the weight of their past pressing down, yet somehow lighter in the moment. I think I just forgot how much I wanted to be part of this. The fair had begun, and with each laugh, each connection they forged, a possibility of healing hovered over them. Moments later they found themselves side by side, painting faces together, laughter coursing through their words. By nightfall, the fair ended with a stunning burst of fireworks overhead. Maria watched the colors explode in the sky, feelings swirling inside her. This was a chance to embrace change, to move beyond fear. Would she continue to cultivate this newfound bond, or would the whispers of doubt pull her back again? As fireworks lit up the darkness, so did possibilities for tomorrow, a chance to make everything they built together shine brighter. Maria took a deep breath, ready to discover the answers hidden in the light. As the last fireworks fizzled out in the night sky, Maria stood there, breathless and hopeful. The fair had been a triumph, not just in decorations and laughter but in the way it united people. As the crowd began to disperse, leaving behind remnants of joy and scattered confetti, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. "Mom, did you see that last one?" Alex shouted, pointing at the remnants of shimmering sparks. His eyes were wide with excitement, and it reminded her of the joy she had felt as a child. "Yes, it was beautiful," she exclaimed, getting caught up in his enthusiasm. But even as they laughed and reminisced about the day's highlights, a small part of her was still weighed down by apprehension. How would they keep this energy going? Mia tugged at her arm, breaking her thoughts. "Can we come back tomorrow to clean up? I want to help more." Maria's heart squeezed. "Of course, and maybe we'll even plan something bigger next time." They all nodded vigorously, and for the first time in a long while, Maria could see a future that glittered with possibilities. That journey home felt different. The car was filled with chatter and laughter, punctuated by stories of the fair, each word a thread weaving their experiences tighter together. But that sense of accomplishment couldn't completely wipe out her lingering doubts. What if this was just a fleeting moment? When they reached home, the exhaustion hit her harder than she expected. She could sense it lingering in the air, a mix of fulfillment and fear. After tucking Alex into bed, she found Mia scrolling through photos from the fair. "Look at this one, Mom," Mia said, turning the screen toward her. It was a picture of Maria, caught mid-laugh, her face lit with pure joy, paint splattered on her cheeks. "Wow, that's a good one," Maria smiled. "See? It was fun." Mia's eyes sparkled with belief. "You should keep smiling like that." Maria chuckled, feeling the warmth of that shared moment. "I will. Promise." Later that evening as she lay in bed, Maria wrestled with her thoughts. There was excitement bubbling within her, but alongside it, the whispering fear of reverting to how things had been before clawed at her. She rolled over, glancing at her phone. She had received a text from Becky. "Today was incredible. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. I really want to keep this going. Can we meet to discuss ideas?" A flutter of hope swirled in Maria's chest. Responding quickly, she typed, "Absolutely. Let us build on this." Before sleep finally enveloped her, Maria felt a resolve she hadn't felt in years. Maybe Becky was right. They didn't have to be just neighbors standing apart. They could work together to foster something lasting. The next day, as she prepared for her meeting with Becky, Maria cleaned the kitchen, the goals of the community swirling through her mind. What if they held weekly art nights? Or organized volunteer events that brought people closer together? She dashed down another idea to create a community mural that reflected everyone's stories. She was so caught up in her thoughts she almost forgot to check the time. Racing to get ready, she glanced at her reflection and took a deep breath, reminding herself that she was no longer the woman who let doubt dictate her. When they finally met, Becky appeared with a notebook full of sketches and ideas. "I think we can do more than just art events, Maria. We could empower the community in so many ways." Her passion was contagious. With each idea they shared, Maria felt the barriers they built dissolve further. But just as she felt the excitement ramping up, Becky paused and looked a little uncertain. "Can we really change things? What if people aren't interested?" Maria swallowed hard. "What if they are? We need to trust in what we've started." The air buzzed with possibilities, but Maria couldn't ignore that creeping thought. Would everyone join them in this venture? Or were they bound to feel the familiar ghost of apathy creeping back in? She looked at Becky, who exuded a newfound determination, and felt the warmth of shared hope. Let us take that leap together. And just like that, their journey of transformation began one step at a time. But as they dove deeper into planning their next steps, an unforeseen obstacle loomed on the horizon, threatening to shatter the moment they were beginning to build. What would happen next? Maria woke up the next morning with a determined mind. The sun filtered through her curtains, casting golden light across the room. Today was the day, she reminded herself. The buzz of last night's meeting lingered, urging her to dive back into planning with Becky. She felt a weight lift from her shoulders, the feeling of finally taking control as she sipped coffee. Her mind raced through the ideas they had brainstormed. A community mural that told a story, art nights that could ignite creativity, volunteer work that could pave the way for real connections. Each thought brought a smile to her face. She was ready to share these passions with the rest of the neighborhood. After a quick breakfast, Maria grabbed her phone and texted Becky. Let us gather some neighbors to see what they want. She felt a sense of exhilaration at the thought. With each message sent, each plan made, she could envision the community blossoming. Later, when she arrived at the local park, the weather was perfect, warm and bright. Children played on the swings while parents chatted nearby. Maria spotted Becky already there, surrounded by a few neighbors who had shown up to hear their ideas. Hey everyone! Maria called out, her voice carrying warmth and excitement. Thank you for coming. We've got some plans. As she launched into their vision, Maria noticed the spark in the eyes around her. People leaned in, whispering encouragement, sharing laughter. They were on the precipice of something big and she could feel it. But right in the middle of her enthusiasm, a voice cut through. What if nobody wants to join? What if this is all just a waste of energy? It was Miss Thompson, a longtime resident known for her cynicism. Maria's heart sank for a moment, but she quickly regained her composure. What if they do want to join? What if we inspire just one person? She took a breath, steadying herself. Even if we only change a few lives, that's worth every ounce of effort, isn't it? Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, but Miss Thompson crossed her arms, visibly skeptical. Maria felt her confidence wavering, but she soldiered on, urging the group to share any fears or concerns. As they talked, ideas flowed freely, and Maria's heart swelled with hope. She realized she wasn't alone in this endeavor. Neighbors were stepping up, sharing their dreams, their stories. They held pieces of the puzzle she hadn't considered before. Then, just as the meeting felt like it was building momentum, a commotion broke out at the park's entrance. Maria turned to see a man shouting. A flurry of chaos as people started to gather around him. What is happening? She whispered, her brow furrowing. Becky's eyes widened. I have no idea, but it doesn't look good. An uneasy feeling crawled into Maria's chest. She took a step forward, her mind racing. This could derail everything they had just built. But then she remembered this was their community. They had vowed to support one another. Whatever was about to unfold, they would face it together. As Maria and the crowd moved to see what was happening, a feeling of dread settled in. What awaited them? Would it shake the unity they just started to forge, or would it serve as a moment of reckoning? Deep down, she knew this wasn't just about art or events anymore. It was about resilience. But as they watched the scene unfold, Maria couldn't shake the gut feeling something was about to change everything. What if this was the turning point they needed to prove how powerful they could be together? As the crowd gathered around the chaos, Maria's heart raced. People were murmuring, pointing, and stepping back nervously. She pushed through the throng, determined not to let fear dictate their moment. The man at the front was older, his face red with anger. He waved his arms, shouting about something that seemed to ignite the crowd. The parking lot. The park's future. Something about a developer. A little girl clung to her mother's leg, eyes wide, sensing the electricity in the air. Maria's gut turned. She glanced at Becky, who stood beside her, a worried frown on her face. What's going on? Maria asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Becky shrugged, eyes darting around. It sounds serious. We need to do something. Summoning her courage, Maria stepped forward, her voice strong despite the flutter in her chest. Excuse me, she called out. What is happening? The man turned to her, surprised that someone was even speaking up. They're planning to tear this place down. He yelled. They want to build apartments where our kids play. This isn't right. Gasps rippled through the crowd, and Maria could feel the tension thickening. Memories of her own childhood in this park washed over her. Playing tag under the trees, laughter echoing across the swings. She couldn't let it vanish. But what can we do? A voice from the back shouted, laced with fear. We can't fight the city. No, Maria said, her heart pounding fiercely. We can fight for what matters. We've already begun building something together. Let us not let this stop us. Murmurs of agreement began to surface, but Miss Thompson shook her head, still perched on her skepticism. What can we possibly do against city planners? Everything, Maria responded, her voice rising. If we can come together to create art nights and murals, we can rally to save our park. We can unite our voices, gather support, even approach our local leaders. We can't just let this happen. A flicker of determination ignited in some of the faces around her. Becky stepped beside her, fire in her eyes. Maria's right. This park isn't just land. It's our community. It's where family memories are made, where connections blossom. Slowly the crowd shifted. Instead of fear, something else grew: resolve. People began stepping forward, sharing personal stories about the park, their laughter, their gatherings. The sound of voices increased, each one bolstering the other. It felt like a wave of unity rising over them, drowning out the dissonance. Even Miss Thompson's demeanor softened as she glanced around. If we gather the right people, she murmured, half to herself. Yes, Maria exclaimed. We can spread the word. Let us create a petition, hold a meeting, invite everyone who wants to help. Together we can make change happen. The crowd buzzed with energy, transformed from uncertainty to empowerment. A palpable tension shifted as people nodded, encouragement growing with each exchange. They were hungry to act, hungry to reclaim what was theirs together. As Maria looked out at the faces around her, she felt a blessing take hold. Hope was rising, and for the first time, it seemed strong enough to face the storm brewing ahead. But deep inside, she also sensed something shifting in her own heart. This wasn't just about the land. Something was awakening within her. But as they began to discuss the next steps, another figure emerged on the fringe of the crowd. Maria recognized him, the city planner. A man bearing a reputation for making tough decisions without regard for community voices. He approached, and the air grew thick with tension again. What would he say? Was he here to listen or to dismiss them? Maria took a deep breath, heart pounding. It was time for the community to stand solidly, one united front, and face whatever was coming. Would they be ready for him? The crowd sensed the shift. Conversations dwindled, tension tightening around Maria like a vice. The city planner, a man named Mr. Collins, stood with an air of authority that made many in the crowd shrink back. His tailored suit seemed to mock the worn jeans and t-shirts of families who had spent countless weekends in this park. Ladies and gentlemen, he called out, his voice booming but strangely flat. The calm detachment of his expression unnerved Maria. I understand there are concerns about the proposed developments in this area. But I assure you, these plans are necessary to accommodate the city's growth and to provide housing for families. Some voices erupted in protest, but most stood hushed, caught between disbelief and fear. Maria felt her heart race. This was the chance to push back, to make their voices heard. She stepped forward again, clenching her fists, determination surging within her. With all due respect, Mr. Collins, does growth have to come at the expense of our community? He raised an eyebrow, a smirk creeping onto his face. You think a park defines a community? Development brings jobs, infrastructure, and progress. A park is just grass and trees. At that, a murmur of outrage rippled through the crowd. Maria stood taller, the fire igniting her spirit, pushing her forward. These just grass and trees hold our histories, our memories. They anchor us. Are we supposed to exchange our hearts for a building? Some members of the audience started to cheer, others chanting "Save our park." Inspiring echoes coursed through the gathering. Maria sensed the swell of support. It was exhilarating. She felt as if she was tapping into something much bigger than herself. But Collins stood unyielding, his expression now a blend of annoyance and condescension. This is a done deal. You cannot protest against progress. Maria's heart fell. But she refused to let despair creep in. Glancing at Becky, she saw her friend's eyes locked on her, wide and full of faith. In that moment, Maria knew they couldn't turn back. "Then let us show you what progress really means," she shouted. "The progress of a community coming together, of standing up for what we love. If this city wants to move forward, then so must we with our voices, our stories, our power." The crowd erupted in cheers, filling the air with energy that seemed almost tangible. Mr. Collins cast a skeptical gaze over the sea of determined faces. For a moment, he looked almost uncertain, as if the very size of their resolve was starting to shake his conviction. He took a deep breath, jaw clenched, and said, "I advise you to reconsider before this escalates. I'll be back to finalize plans soon." And with that, he turned sharply and walked away, the undercurrent of mutters and chatter swelling as the crowd processed his words. Maria's heart raced not from fear, but from hope. She looked around and saw people smiling, exchanging spirited ideas. A plan was forming in the air, a shared commitment igniting in their eyes. Becky grabbed Maria's arm, excitement radiating off her. "We did it. We took a stand." But as Maria looked at the vibrant community around her, she knew this was just the beginning. They had voiced their opposition, but could they keep the momentum alive? Would they have enough strength to rally even more support? With the park's fate hanging in the balance, Maria's mind raced with possibilities. She would need to connect with local leaders, organize meetings, maybe even reach out to the media. It was not only about saving the park, this was about rebuilding the fabric of their community. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park, Maria understood the deeper power this fight unveiled within her. But would they have what it took to face the real battles ahead? The challenge loomed before them, and with a rush of determination she thought, what if this was the moment they could finally be heard? Maria's heart was pounding as she stood before the growing crowd gathered at the park. The air crackled with electricity, charged by a sense of purpose. With each person that arrived, she felt buoyed, her previous fears and doubts slowly melting away. This was at the moment she had fought for, the chance for her community to rally together and reclaim what was rightfully theirs. "Thank you all for coming," she called out, her voice steady yet filled with excitement. "Today is about us, about our stories, our memories, and our future together. We cannot let our park fall into the hands of progress that disregards our community." Cheers erupted from the crowd. It was a sound she hadn't fully believed could resonate from her timid heart just weeks ago. The power of her voice surged, igniting the passion in others. Surrounding her there were families, friends, and neighbors, each with their own history tied to this park. Behind her, Becky stepped up, a determined look in her eyes. "Together we can organize. We can create a petition, we can meet with city officials, and we can share our stories about why this park matters. We will take it to the streets." Someone shouted from the back of the crowd. "Let us show our strength." Another voice chimed in. As people began to brainstorm ideas, Maria felt a warmth spreading through her. It wasn't just about saving the park anymore. It was about transforming their community into a vibrant, collaborative space where everyone had a voice, where memories could continue to grow, and laughter could echo through generations. Determined, Maria raised her hand. "Let us organize a community-wide event next weekend, right here. We'll invite everyone to enjoy the space, share their stories, and sign a petition to show we mean business. We'll show our city that this park is worth saving." The crowd responded with fervent nods and shouts of agreement. The energy surged, with laughter and ideas bouncing back and forth. Together they formed smaller groups. Some would work on decorations for the event. Others would draft the petition. Within hours, excitement transformed the park into a hub of creativity and action. The spirit of unity enveloped them, weaving connections that had long gone unacknowledged. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting golden hues over the laughter and animated conversations, Maria caught sight of Miss Thompson, who stood with her arms crossed, still unsure. "Hey, Miss Thompson," Maria called, making her way over. "Will you join us? We could really use your experience." Miss Thompson hesitated but then met Maria's gaze. "I didn't believe any of this would happen," she started slowly. "But I'm impressed. You sure have a way of bringing people together." Maria's heart swelled. "We can create something amazing. But I need your voice, your stories to make it even stronger." A small smile broke through Miss Thompson's guarded expression. "All right then, Let me help. As night fell, they forged ahead, perfecting posters and gathering supplies. The air, once filled with doubt, was now rich with hope and laughter. For the first time in years, Maria felt like she belonged somewhere, her heart beating in rhythm with the community she adored. In a way, the battle over the park mirrored the fight within herself. She was no longer merely a shadow drifting through Willow Creek. She was a force to be reckoned with. As they gathered to finalize plans, Maria glanced at Alex and Mia, who beamed with pride. "This is just the beginning," she whispered to them, a thrill of anticipation coursing through her body. The following weekend dawned bright and sunny, as neighbors streamed into the park for the first ever community day. In every square inch, laughter echoed, children played, and the smell of fresh baked goods and barbecue filled the air. Maria maneuvered through the crowd, feeling the pulse of unity around her. The petition table was crowded, everyone eager to add their names. Stories flowed as people shared why the park mattered to them, memories of wedding receptions, birthday parties, lazy summer days, fragments of a shared past and a hopeful future. As the day hurried forward, Maria spotted the familiar face of Mr. Collins appearing at the park's entrance once again. Nervous energy coursed through her, but she felt a surge of confidence, the gathered strength of her community behind her. "Mr. Collins," she called, walking toward him with purpose. "I'm so glad you could join us. I hope you can see how much this park means to all of us." He tilted his head, a flicker of surprise crossing his features as he observed the scene, families together, laughter ringing out like vibrations of joy through the trees. After a moment he sighed, the cool facade cracking slightly. "I never expected to see this much engagement. It does hold value, doesn't it?" "It does," Maria affirmed, holding her breath. "And we are prepared to work with you to find a solution that keeps our community intact while allowing for growth." A wave of murmurs swelled among the crowd, tension shifting into anticipation. "Then let us talk," Collins replied, his eyes now reflecting a hint of curiosity about the concerns he previously overlooked. As the four of them discussed plans, Maria felt that flickering hope coalesce into something more profound, a sense of belonging and resolve that ran deep. Not only were they fighting for their park, but they were weaving threads of connection that would stand long after this battle had been fought. Hours later, as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Maria acknowledged a culminating moment, the union of fear. She breathed in the sweet scent of hope intertwined with the laughter that blossomed. They were more than just residents. They were a family, committed to nurturing dreams, visible and celebrated. In this journey, she had transformed from a shadow into a beacon. And as she looked at her children, proud and shining beside her, Maria knew they had built something far more meaningful than any corner of a park. They had kindled community, reaffirmed love, and together they'd risen from the shadows, ready to operate in the light. "Together we can do this," she whispered, and her heart felt like it was brimming with possibility, a flame no darkness could snuff out. As weeks passed, the community rallied around the park, their voices creating a symphony of togetherness. And at every turn, Maria spun away the shadows of doubt and embraced the light of connection that anchored them all. This was not the end but a triumphant beginning. And as the sun rose on the day of a long-anticipated town meeting where their collective voices would be heard, Maria felt an overwhelming surge of determination. They were ready to reclaim their story, one filled with resilience, community, and love. As they steered toward the future, one thing was certain. They would never allow their dreams to be overlooked again. If you felt the power of this transformation, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to join this incredible journey. Hit like to support the algorithm and let others know about these amazing stories. And please comment below with your thoughts on this ending, and share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support and let our collective voices be heard.